Thanks for tuning in. This is Sweet Cyclist. Today we're going to be reviewing the Bontrager Specter WaveCel cycling helmet. So here we have the helmet, it's in original packaging. The Bontrager Specter WaveCel helmet is one of the cheapest ways to currently get into the WaveCel helmets offered by Bontrager. And if you've been into cycling, you know it's very dangerous, and helmets in general haven't had a lot of major improvements over the years. So technologies like MIPS and now Bontrager's WaveCel are really great additions to reduce the impact of crashes and prevent injuries. As I mentioned, they have a few variations of the WaveCel. They have an aero version for $300, a commuting version, and a mountain biking version. This is the most affordable of the bunch at $149. It also has a bunch of other cool features. It has the WaveCel liner here, and you can see it fits between the normal EPS foam and the padding. It has a fit lock magnetic buckle, and that's a really nice feature you typically see on higher end helmets. So it makes putting it on really easy. You have nice removable machine washable liner on the inside. You have a really cool BOA retention system here. So it's a dual direction to really dial it in. This is the medium sized. They're offered in 5 different colors. I chose the radioactive yellow, and it looks really cool as it contrasts well with the WaveCel liner. Packaging wise, really simple, basic box. You get some tags with some information about WaveCel. I highly recommend looking at some of it. It's a really cool technology, and it's great to see being introduced into cycling, especially at $149. While this is not cheap by any means, it's definitely more affordable. So now let's take a look at the weight of the Specter WaveCel helmet. A lot of people are concerned with the additional bulk that WaveCel technology may add to it. This is a medium size, and that comes out to 346 grams. So definitely not the lightest on the market, but not that heavy either. So now let's take a closer look at the fit and finish of the Bontrager Specter WaveCel helmet. At $150, this is the most affordable way to get in the WaveCel line. And I think the fit and finish really justifies that as well. Not only do you have this really nice WaveCel technology, you can see it's a fairly thick liner that actually sandwiches between the EPS foam and the inside padding. They describe this as a 3-dimensional structure. And by that, they mean it will both crunch in this direction. And you can see it's all really strategically placed with the weaker points here designed to flex, as well as vertically, and that's kind of hard to capture on camera, but between the top and bottom there's a thinner portion that's designed to really crumple. So similar to like a MIPS or other technology, this is really designed to reduce the rotational impact as well as complement the EPS foam to reduce the primary impact, so to keep you safer. What also makes this helmet seem really premium is the external shell, and especially here in the radioactive yellow color, it extends all the way down and looks really great. Typically with cheaper helmets, you would see a line just like you see with the vents here, where you would see the EPS foam unfinished. So this looks better, and it should be more durable in the long run as you won't have a sharper edge catching anything. If we look at the design from the front, I would consider this a rather simple helmet. It doesn't really stand out that much, I think, compared to cheaper helmets. The vents are rather simple with large vertical openings. Same thing with the top profile, pretty standard. And especially with this minimal graphics, it looks pretty typical. Where it really stands out, I think, is some of the other profiles. If we look at the side profile, this is the one I really like it. It's very aggressive. You have this kind of blunt trailing edge here. Really nice sculpted ear cutout. And again, with that single piece shell here that extends all the way down, you can see it really wraps around, and even the edges between the shell portions are really clean. So really premium look, and with these additional lines, it gives it a little bit of flair. If we rotate it all the way to the back, you can see, again, really aggressive venting here. So a lot of large cutouts, and with these black inner portions, it really blends in, especially if you're at night. There's reflective elements here to improve your safety at night as well. And again, really minimal branding. You have Bontrager here, WaveCel, Specter, and that's it. You don't have a lot of graphics. The retention system is also really great. It's nice to see an actual BOA dial. Most helmets these days will have some kind of cage system like this, but this dual direction BOA dial makes it really easy, and you can see these nylon laces here. So I found the fit to be really good. I typically wear medium, and this medium fit perfectly. If we go to the inside, we have this nice magnetic fit lock buckle. And this is really great. You can see it has 2 magnets, and you simply get it close enough and it drops in. One thing that's unfortunate is when you take it off, you really have to slide it. It's a little bit unusual. You have to slide it in that direction instead of away from each other. So if you're used to a standard buckle, this does take a little bit of getting used to. The straps themselves are also really nice as well. So you can see they're very soft nylon. And then you have these nice cam designs for adjusting it. So you just pull up, make any adjustment you want, and then drop it down. So it makes it really easy to get comfortable. Speaking of comfort, the inside padding is also extremely nice, very plush. It's also removable and machine washable, although I found that this portion that goes underneath the cage system is quite difficult to take off. You really have to put a lot of force in there. And I haven't actually been able to take it off as I'm a little worried I'd break it. But otherwise, really comfortable, and I think with the WaveCel liner, it makes it really hug your head better than a typical helmet. Here's some shots of the helmet out in the wild. As you can see, the radioactive yellow really pops, and that WaveCel liner is a bold statement, especially against the foam, exposed foam in the vents. We also found those with longer hair were comfortable with this helmet if they could fit their ponytail above the rear dial. So now let's do a little comparison between the Specter helmet and some other helmets on the market. Here I have my standard LAS helmet. This is non-MIPS. But you can see it's a lot more aggressive. Also, it has some of those more premium touches, like a shell that actually comes around. But again, it doesn't come around in the front, which gives it a little less premium of a look. However, it looks a lot more aggressive with the large vertical vents and styling elements. Especially when you put these side by side. You can see this one's a lot more aggressively designed. Whether that helps or not, it's probably less aerodynamic. Inside this helmet is pretty much your standard helmet. Plastic clasp, nylon strap, a liner, and then the EPS foam. So in the case of an impact, you'll just have the foam to protect you. Any rotational force will be directly to your head. So that's one reason MIPS came around. And you can see MIPS is now in a lot of helmets. This is the Lazer Cameleon helmet. This is a newly introduced from them. It's about $89 for this MIPS version. And it's a rather nice helmet. It's designed to be all around. You can see here really large vents. And without the WaveCel technology, all the vents openings are all free. Here you have a MIPS liner. If you haven't seen this before, you can see it's not much more than a simple little plastic and Teflon lined liner that fits between the shell and the padding. And you can see it has some rotation even by hand. It has these little pins that hold it in place until you actually have a major accident though. And the idea of this is to really prevent that rotational force from being transferred directly to your head and kind of absorb some of it before it gets to you. So if we compare the WaveCel side by side, you can see the Lazer helmet, by the way, is $89, so cheaper. And you can see that you don't have some of those premium touches like the magnetic strap, and you don't have the completely finished edges here, which is one reason why the Specter looks nicer and can justify the higher price. If we go back to the WaveCel versus MIPS, you can see the WaveCel adds a little bit of bulk because it's a little bit thicker. It also blocks some of the vents, so if you have longer hair or a ponytail or something like that and you need those openings to route your hair, WaveCel helmet might not work for you. I haven't had any issues with overheating, but I've never had issues with that as I have shorter hair. But it's interesting putting these side by side. It's great to see these technologies out here and improving the safety. Now let's go over the pros and cons of the Specter WaveCel helmet. I really like the magnetic clasp. It's a really nice touch, especially at this price point. Overall, the helmet really has great quality in terms of fit and finish. The external shell extends all the way down. All the surfaces are really well done and well designed. Also, the WaveCel liner really adds an element of safety as well as comfort, as it tends to grip your head a little bit better than other helmets I own. Some of the cons for the helmet, I think, are the heavier weight. This is not a featherweight helmet at about 350 grams, but by no means too heavy. You'll hardly notice it's there. The clasp release is a little bit non-intuitive. I always found myself trying to pull at it in the wrong direction. Something you have to kind of get used to with usage. Also, the WaveCel liner does restrict some of the airflow through the vents, and it does prevent you from attaching any lights or cameras that require going through the vents, so that's something to be aware of. Taking this all into account, let's give this helmet a final rating. Out of 10, I would give it a 9.2. It's a really unique and comfortable helmet, and it's great to see technologies like WaveCel enter the more affordable price points. Thanks for watching this review. Please consider liking and subscribing if you like the content. You can also see more content from us if you visit our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.